So this is going to be my just turn the mic on and go episode inspired by a movie I just saw recently, Pump Up the Volume by Christian Slater in the 90s. Actually, I think late 80s. And I've posted, I've taken the poster of that movie and put my face over his as kind of a joke. And I've referenced that movie because I really loved this. I related to the spirit of this guy in his basement, um, who at school is shy and awkward, but in his basement he finds his cape. In his basement, he is self-expressive and unrehearsed, and he is allowed to be in his solid self. And I think I related to that because, and not so much because of what I do today, because how I was when I was blogging on Tumblr in 2010. And I remember having a shitty job. So for him, it was school that he hated in that system. For me, it was the clinical system, realizing how broken it was and having a shitty job, punching a clock, hated that part of my life, but I had to go to work like he had to go to school. And then I would come home, and it was in my bedroom at the time where I was blogging and making, silly videos, doing thrusters in the, no, not on my bed, in the, well, maybe if I got lucky, my bed, but doing thrusters in the downstairs underground parking garage because I had I had some weights and that's kind of all I had. And I just love the spirit of that movie. Does it hold up today? I don't know. It was fun. It was fun to watch an old Christian Slater movie. I remember I thought he was so cool. I thought he was so cool back in the 90s. Anyway, so in the spirit of that, this episode is going to be like that, where I'm just there's no outline today. I'm just talking. I'm doing a check-in. I am quote unquote pumping up the volume. I think his name was Harry Hard On, which also kind of lines up with with me and my story. Many men, I'm sure, but yes, okay, a little TMI here. I don't know if there's I don't know if TMI is a thing, especially with podcasting, because it's so intimate and there's never too much information. With podcasting, um, at least for me, I really feel like when I have the microphone and I'm talking, I don't, and I think because I don't think about who's listening to it, I just kind of like use it as an audio diary, if you will. One of the topics that I wanted to talk about today was single parents, especially single moms. I was just talking to my partner yesterday, and I realized that most female friends that we have are single moms, and I think what's happening in the world is we are no longer afraid of divorce. I think what's happening is we are no longer to negotiate ourselves in relationships. And so there's, I think, an explosion. And I think this is a generational thing. And I really think my generation, I'm a generation, am I a Gen X? Somewhere between Gen X and Y. I think I am Gen X. I think it started with my generation, and it's really manifesting in the generation today where there's low tolerance as far as just white knuckling unhappiness in relationships. And because relationships are hard and because people now want to just be happy, there's a lot of single parents, not just mothers, fathers as well, a lot of single parents because I think back in the day, it was more like, oh, let's just stay together for the kids. And there's still some of that. I see that, today. And I get that, that breaking up the family, you think about your kids and what they're going to go through. Like, listen, I have a child, I get that. But what people don't understand is it's better for the kids for parents to be happy, even if they're not together. Kids can feel tension and eggshells. And if you're depressed or unhappy in life, but you're very productive, or you're doing everything to get the kid to school and all that, um, but your state is unhappiness, I think that's more damaging than to have a harder life because you are now alone, logistically harder, maybe financially, whatever, but you are happier. You know, think about when you're a child, and if you grew up without money, you may have been aware that I mean, most people that grew up poor and eating cereal for dinner, they weren't even aware because the family made it fun. But if you were aware that you didn't have money or that you were poor, that probably had less effect on you than your awareness of mom depressed on the couch, or dad drinking too much, or other things that impacted you a lot more than the fact that you guys ate cereal for dinner. And so what's happening, I think, is a lot of people leaving relationships, no longer tolerating toxicity or unhealthy or um, abusive, and deciding to start a new life. And so we're seeing a lot of single parents around my age and younger who are doing it, and I got to say, it's not easy because um, I've been witnessing it, the things that they're going through. I mean, starting off with just like, if you're single, I mean, starting off with finances, of course, just how expensive it is, especially today. But if you're single, and let's say, you're a single parent and you want to go on a date, it costs like $100 just to get out of the house, just to have childcare. And so you go on this date, and then the date sucks, or it's, there was false advertising, or you're let down, and now you're thinking, fuck, I just wasted $100. And I mean, how can I afford to keep going on dates and having an open mind, when it takes so much just to get out of the house, right? And so then that's short lived, and then so people just kind of stop looking or putting effort into that because it just requires so much. And uh so just that part alone, like the dating part, it's so hard. And then of course, payments and student loans and schools and childcare and taking care of it, and then also if you're a single mom, and you don't like the way that your ex-parents, or if he is or she is using the child as a chess pawn, all that fucking psychology and emotional baggage. I mean, listen, I just want to say that it's hard, and I want to say it because people don't talk about how hard it is, and I think a lot of single parents don't talk about it because they feel like then they're complaining. No, it is. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they do it. It's straight up survival, you know, and I don't want to just leave on how hard it is, because I don't want this to be kind of a complaining thing. I want to validate how hard it is to be a single parent these days, and to have a life, and to take care of yourself, and pursue your passions and date and all that. It's almost impossible to do it alone. I notice that. I see that around me. That being said, I think it's also very empowering. I think that the exchange is worth it. I think it's better to be a single parent and not be trapped in a dead relationship or a fake relationship uh, or maybe a career or job that is graying you out, um, I think it's better to be a single parent, even though it's fucking hard, than to be trapped in anything, whether it's a career that is shitty, that exhausts you, or and that doesn't line up with your true north, or a relationship that is just not good or dead or not salvageable, you know? So I would just want to applaud any single parent out there, and to know, to be gentle on yourself, and to know that it is hard. And if I can provide any tip, don't do it alone. Don't do it, community, friends. I think another thing that's going to happen, that is kind of happening, is this idea of the word that comes to my mind is commune, but and I think there's a word for it. I think it's a mommune. I don't know what the word for it is, but single parents getting together so they can collectively help each other, whether it is contributing for childcare, or giving each other support, resources, ride shares, whatever's needed. And I think that's the answer, because I think it used to be like that, and we've swayed so far away from that we all now live in bubbles. And I think the thing that can be dangerous when single parenting is isolation, is feeling alone, because you're going to feel overwhelmed, right? And so if you feel alone and overwhelmed, there's a high chance it's gonna feel like quicksand, and you can't. You're spending so much energy dog paddling, trying to get out of this, and it feels impossible. And so then you start sinking, and then you start getting depressed, and then you start numbing, and then you start, maybe you're on meds, or maybe you're doing whatever to numb unhealthy behavior, and then it gets worse and worse, right? And then lined with that, shame, uh, embarrassment, being really hard on yourself. So if you're a single parent, or single parents, maybe you could pass along this episode. You got to find community. You whether it's online, offline, it doesn't matter. Use whatever you can to find a circle of other single parents where you guys can do this together. And it's the same with anything, it's the same with divorce recovery. It's the same with, if you're a recovering addict. It's the same with um, the power of community in fitness, a motorcycle club. It really doesn't matter. We're we're social creatures, and we've always um, done life with others, and sharpened each other uh, through each other. And so that can go away very fast when you're a single parent. And I think that's the biggest vine that's going to pull you out of the quicksand. And then once you find your community, and you feel less alone, and you get more support, and now you and your friends are helping each other with whatever that needs. It could be soup because you're sick, or it could be someone helping you take your kids to soccer practice, or whatever it is. Just it adds up. And then the lift of that, right? And then you get some breathing room, and then you could take yourself to a yoga class, or take yourself to get your nails done, or give yourself some time to work on your book, or whatever matters to you, or go on that date. And then slowly you can kind of climb out of that hole, and then you could start to build a life. And I think you do it through community. When I think about my divorce recovery, and all the times that I felt so alone in Los Angeles, um, it was really getting out of my head and out of my house, and involved in communities. And it was through community that I was able to slowly kind of climb out of that hole. and it wasn't over a weekend. It took years. I had to work my way out of some financial stuff, and I had to um, look for better jobs. I had to build a practice. I had to put my head down and um, write a lot of fucking blog posts and do a lot of things. But it was a day at a time, a step at a time. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I felt like Tom Hanks talking to a volleyball. If I felt like I was alone on the island, I wouldn't have had the energy. I wouldn't have believed that I could. But it was through the support of other people, friends, crepes and coffee, conversations, and also, a lot of choosing what content that I take in, whether it's audio, video. Social media was fairly new at the time. Podcasting was brand new. We had YouTube, I think, and so taking a lot of YouTube videos, things that were free, that helped me with my mindset, helped me get out of my distorted thought, and combining that with activities where I can drop into my body and be more present. For me, it was a motorcycle. For me, it was fitness. But that doesn't have to be the case for you. It could be a daily walk. It can be an ice plunge. It could be meeting your friend Monday morning at a coffee shop for 30 minutes and just catching up. It could look like anything where you're dropping into your body, you're feeling less alone, and you are slowly rebuilding your life. Anyway, that was on my heart. Excuse me. That was on my heart this morning. Thinking about single moms and, single parents, because I don't want to leave out dads, but around me, what I see is a lot more single moms. Yeah, it is. I was gonna say the struggle is real, but that sounds it sounds kind of patronizing. There's lots of struggle there, but there's also lots of rich soil for rebirth. There's because I also see a lot of courage. I see a lot of people drawing lines that they didn't have the strength or courage to before, which is amazing. I see a lot of evolution coming from single parents. So all that is good. Well, thank you for listening, and thank you for giving me a voice. Thank you for supporting me. Whether speaking of voice, I'm losing mine this morning. Whether you have read my blogs or listened to my podcast, or I don't know, follow me on social. Thank you for making me feel less alone. I've been doing this since 2010, and this right here has been really what's given me life. So thank you so much for being supportive in that way. Thank you for listening. Be well.